and welcome to today's episode. I have the honor of speaking to Corey Peck from Reveal My DIY, and it's really Corey and her husband Kyle who does a lot of helping with the DIYs. Is that correct?
Yes, he is the muscle behind the account.
I have one of those too. I'm like, can you do this?
Exactly.
Oh, good. Well, I'm so excited to have you on today.
I am so excited to be here, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. This whole podcast has been just like a fun journey, and it's nice to get to talk to people like face to face that we kind of message back and forth and always comment on each other's stuff. And I'm just happy that you're here. And I love
it. It is great to have a different sort of avenue for talking, right? Other than just like typing on the phone.
Right. It is. So, a couple of things. So like, what made you start your account and how long have you had it?
So this is actually kind of I think it's a funny story. Other people might not. So I think I started my account in November of 2018. So I guess it's been like a year and a half.
Okay.
Literally on I was bored one day and I had started a blog because we have owned, this is our fourth home now that we've owned. We bought our first house when we were in like our early 20s, and we've basically been DIYing ever since.
Oh, wow.
And this particular house we've done quite a bit because it was a foreclosure. And I had a lot of friends that were like, because I had started a blog and done like a couple things, and I was like, that's a lot of work and whatever. And people were like, you really should, because you do such good stuff, this and that. And so one day I was literally bored and I was like, maybe I should start like an Instagram account for this. That would be way easier than like writing blog posts all the time,
Right.
So I created this Instagram account, not even realizing that like home decor influencing was even a thing. Zero intention of like making it be that. Like literally just, let me just create this page where I can keep like, just have like my before and afters of the house rather than like clogging out my personal Instagram with it kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, and first of all, let me start by saying too, even though my projects were good, like we had really good DIY skills when we started this whole journey, my photography skills were terrible. I'm still not a great photographer, but I mean, my photos back then were atrocious. I had no idea what I was doing. And so, it was one of those things where, and then I remember like on the way to the gym, I got like 100 followers and I was telling my husband like, oh my God,
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe like, I don't know, like, and he was like, really, you need 10,000 followers even for swipe ups, like, when do you ever think that's going to happen? I was like, it'll be forever kind of thing, and honestly, like, I kept thinking to myself, it's so far, and I'm sure like you were the same way, but like when you first start out, you think, like, even when you get to like 1,000, you're like, but I still need 9,000 more to get to 10,000, because everyone's always trying to hit like that number. And so I really just thought that it was not going to happen. And like I said, when I first started the account, I never expected that to be the case. But then when I started seeing all these other home decor accounts and stuff, I was like, oh, this is like a thing. Maybe this could be a thing for me,
Yeah.
And so that was kind of how it started. And then we just sort of kept going with it. And I'm the type of person that when I see somebody else doing something, especially if I think I can do it, like for example, like the decor loops that were a big like thing back when I first started my account, they're not as popular now. I remember thinking, well, why do I want to join a loop where I have to follow like all these other people in order to join it? Like, I'm just going to start my own and then make everybody else follow me kind of thing. Right. So I started a loop and I literally posted an Instagram story and was like, if you're another decor account and you want to be a host with me, DM me. And literally, if you DM'd me, you were a host. Like, that was how I like picked who the hosts were, because this was back when my account was smaller. But we became like, that loop like became a thing. But I sort of started to realize, okay, like I can just sort of do this myself and be my own, whatever it is, rather than like following with other people. And so I think people started looking to me for guidance and stuff. And then this really just became kind of something more to me than what I ever like intended it to be when I started it. I know that was a really long answer, but.
Awesome. Because I think people don't really understand, like, you start out at one point and it evolves, right? Because you're learning.
Yep.
You're learning. And you come up with ideas and you try something, maybe that doesn't work. And then you're like, okay, let's try this. And maybe that doesn't work. And you try that. And you're like, oh, okay, that works. So, no, that's great. That's great.
Well, and I feel like it's funny because that also applies with like our home, right? Like our decor and our DIYs and stuff. So you like do a DIY one way and then you think, oh my God, I would never do it like that again. Yeah. But you do, you figure out a way to do it better the next, or you style a room a certain way or something, and then you're like, I hate it, I got to redo it. So, it's kind of one of those things
like,
where
right away, it's got to go.
Yeah, it's like it's all a journey, whether it be, the home decor, the Instagram, the DIYs, everything. It's all, it's a learning process.
It's a creative process too, right?
Yes.
And I think, especially through quarantine, like this house was going to be, this was a rental property. We had to move back from Texas. And I thought, okay, we're going to fix it up. It's going to be an Airbnb. Like, I don't want to live here. But then now through quarantine and the real estate market and everything's going on, I'm like, we're not moving. So now we're like finishing those rooms that I abandoned that have like a ceiling fan with no topper on it, So it's now it's like, okay, it's time to make the whole house a home instead of just focusing on these main rooms. So it's all a journey.
Yeah, it is. And it's one of the things I actually talked about when I was doing the one room challenge, because like my entryway was the room that I did. And I know that I'm getting ahead because that's our next topic, but not to really like talk about that specifically, but it's one of those things where when I posted the before picture of what it looks like now, people would say to me, well, it's already beautiful. Why are you like, what could you possibly be doing to it? Right. And I'm like, it is, but I'm going to make it like, I'm going to take it like to the next level kind of thing. And I think the way that I look at, so my husband's like, well, when I say to him, I want to do something, he's like, we already did that room. I'm like, yes, honey, I know that we did that room already, but it's like, we've had the room that way for like 4 years, and like styles change, tastes change, things change. And sometimes you just get bored and tired of something, right? So I think that's a great thing about decor, is that it can be an evolution, and the room doesn't always have to stay the way that it was when you did, like nothing ever has to be finished, so to speak, right? Like there's always something else you can do to like spice it up.
There's always a project. And Steve and I have always been homebodies. So it's like when all of our friends are out doing things on the weekends, we're like putting pavers in or painting a room, or we were doing, I'm like, maybe we shouldn't be doing so much. But we're always trying to improve our homes, whatever those may be. And this has been our biggest project by far. So
yeah,
I love it. It's always evolving. And like I said, I'm finally getting to those rooms that I just thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to this room. And then I'm even thinking, now I'm looking around and I'm like, maybe I want to do trim molding.
Yeah.
Never done that.
Always something. The wheels are always turning, right? It's always something.
So tell me about the one room challenge, because I am so intrigued. I've seen it. I saw you do it. I've seen other accounts do it, and I had zero idea what it's about. So kind of tell everyone what that is about, and like the process, like how long is it? Do you have to apply? Like what does that entail?
So it's funny because I am exactly the way that you were the whole time I've been on Instagram. I keep seeing people do this and I'm like, well, how come these accounts get to do this? Like, am I not cool enough? Like, what is this, And so I asked somebody about it one day, but then I realized, and people ask me about it all the time, and I'm like, there's literally a website that is it's oneroomchallenge.com. So, and Better Homes and Gardens sponsors it. And I guess it started with just being a group of designers that Better Homes and Gardens would seek out and have like 20 designers basically over the course of normally a 6-week period, redesign a room and then share the process as they're doing it. And you can do it if you have a public, but they've opened it up now to guest participants. And so it's literally, if you have a public Instagram account, you sign up on the website, but you're accepted. There is no like application process, so to speak. So if you sign up, you're in as a guest participant. If you have a blog, you can sign up to do blog posts about it as well. And then basically it's every Thursday. I mean, you technically have between Thursday and Sunday. You post a progress picture or do a blog post, right? Whatever avenue you're going, of whatever the progress on that room is. And then you just have to put their little logo in the corner. I think you've seen those all over Instagram, the little ORC. And then there's a website attached to the One Room Challenge website where the participants go in every week and we like upload your Instagram like post. You put the link to that in the website so that you can go to the One Room Challenge website and see every single person's like projects.
How does that make you feel when you start seeing progress pics of other people?
Well, I mean, depending, sometimes I'd be like, well, that's an interesting, like, because everyone's take on like, so what was interesting for me was that I was like 6 weeks, we were doing our entryway. So my husband's first response to me was, we can literally do this project in like a day and we have to make it last 6 weeks. And I'm like, well, we don't have to take 6 weeks to do the project, right? We just have to post about it over the 6 weeks. So I was having to be thoughtful and like, not revealing too much at the beginning, right? Because like you want to have a reveal, but figuring out like what content do I post over the course of the 6 weeks so that it like makes sense and then leads up to the reveal. And then right when COVID, when we got stuck in quarantine, was right when we were supposed to start the 1 room challenge. So they actually delayed it. Well, we had already like we were halfway done with the room before they delayed it. Oh, yeah. And so we kept working on the room, but just not obviously posting about it. And they also, with COVID, extended, instead of being a 6 weeks project, it was an 8-week project, which I was like, everyone is stuck at home. If anything, we need like 4 weeks now or something, right? Not 8. So you had to get a little more creative with what you were posting each week, because now you had like 8 weeks worth of content to post instead of 6. But it was an interesting learning experience. So what I did as soon as I signed up for the 1 room challenge is I put it out there to anybody that I heard talking about. I was like, hey, I'm going to start a group on Instagram, like a chat group for everyone that I know that's doing 1 room challenge if they want to be involved. So if we have questions or whatever, like we can support each other. So we talked strategy about like, what are you posting for your first picture? Is it going to be a before picture, a mood board, that kind of thing. And so everyone would sort of throw ideas out there and stuff. And so I thought it was a really good way to collaborate. And I had a mix of people that had done it before, so they could give advice, from previous experience. And then a lot of us, me included, that had never done it before, that were new. So it was like a cool way to kind of get collaboration effort going with other, accounts that were doing it as well. And if people were having issues with the website, you could bounce it off each other and, and that kind of stuff. So
I love that everyone was so collaborative, because, sometimes I feel like Instagram can be a little bit competitive.
Yes.
Hear that everyone was so collaborative, at least in your area, in your group. That's great, because really there's space for all of us, right? And everyone's doing their own thing and has their own take on things. So that's cool. Yeah,
there really is. And I try to be, it's funny because I could really get on a soapbox about that topic, so I won't. But
if you want.
I do feel like, what you said is very true, right? There is a lot of competition of sorts on the platform, right? And there's a lot of comparing ourselves to other people and, why are they getting certain things, or how come they grew faster than me, or blah, 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 blah. And you could literally like send yourself to the insane asylum, if you wanted to like worry about all that kind of stuff. So I have always taken the approach of, I just feel like what you put out is what you get back. And so if you're supportive of other people, then they're going to be supportive of you in return. So like, I'm the person who, like, if you comment on my picture, I will always go comment back on your picture, right? Like, I want people to know that if you're engaging with me, I'm always going to be engaging with you. And then obviously I'll engage with you without you, engaging with me. But it's one of those things where I know there's a lot of people who don't ever like reciprocate and stuff. And I think over time that is going to be a disadvantage, right? Because eventually people are going to say, well, if I'm supporting you over and over and over again, but you're not supporting me back, then people will stop supporting you. And so I feel like I would rather support other people, even if it means they get something that I don't get, because I feel like in the long run, it's better and it comes back to you in a way, right? Versus like the opposite of taking the approach of like, I'm going to keep everything to myself and never share my secrets or support people. And then, hoping that you're just going to have good come to you and you try to like live in this vacuum of, of whatever. And I just don't think that that's how we get ahead at the end of the day. Like maybe temporarily you might think that that's the case, but I feel like in the long run, it's always better to like give and offer as much as you can to others. And eventually, you get it back.
And I 100% agree. And that's exactly kind of even why I started this podcast, is because I'm sure like me, I get asked so many questions about how did you grow your account? What did you do? This and that. And I thought this is a great way that I can give back to the community and really they get to hear from other influencers and see that it wasn't always easy, the trial and tribulations, and that everyone has a space here and you really could just lift each other up. And that's what the purpose, and that's what I was hoping to achieve by this. And so, yeah, you put that perfectly.
Yeah. Well, and that's funny because, I've been following you and your videos since I had like, I don't know, 100 followers or something like that, and my account was really small. And I remember when you followed me, I was like, oh my God, Lisa. I think I even put it in my stories like, day made, Lisa Hartland followed me back. So it's just funny because and even like accounts that I talk to now, and I'm like, I remember when I started, right, they were like a big deal, and now they're like my friends. Yeah. But you don't, and so I think that is something to remember, right? Is that like, just because you look at an account and think, oh, that, so, because like and I'm not a big deal on Instagram at all, but I don't feel any different. What'd you say?
I think you are.
Well, I don't feel any different like today than I felt when I had, other than the fact that I feel like I'm better at it, right? Like as far as my comfort level, but I don't have any sense of entitlement or anything like that. You know, like as a person and as a creator, I don't feel any different when I get on the platform today and have conversations or engage with people that I did, you know, 8-10 months ago, a year ago, when I was still like small. And I'm still small, but so, and I think some people grow quickly or whatever, and they let that kind of thing go to their head, and then they stop like engaging with people, or, you know, they don't follow accounts that have a smaller following. I mean, some of my best friends on this platform have like, you know, under 10,000 followers, but it's because they're really engaging and they make really good content, and I enjoy interacting with them, right? If you have 100,000 followers and you're a jerk, then like, I don't want to be your friend, you know? I don't care how many followers you have. So I
don't know a couple of those.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I get it. And that's so sweet. And it's true. It's like, I think there was a moment in time where I remember being like 132 followers, starting my account from nothing. And I remember the very first person who was kind to me. And because, you know, you just don't know. You're just out there putting your content out, and you're just trying to figure it out and watching YouTube videos and trying to figure out what the heck that hashtag is, and like, where I'm in those hashtags, and then like trying to find people who are similar to you or similar to your decor style. And you just really just have to just keep reaching out and just try and grow genuine friendships, because if you really don't build those, you don't have those people to help support you and help you grow, or shout you out in your stories, or, you know,
exactly.
ask a question too. Like, you know, like I flat out ask, how'd you get that collaboration? Because
yeah, I do the same thing.
And if someone asks me, I'll be like, here's our info.
Yeah. Or how did you make that thing on your story do that? Like, I've never, you know, how does that work? All that kind of stuff. I ask those kinds of questions, and people ask me those questions all the time too, which I think is cool, right? Because at the end of the day, I want people to feel comfortable. I mean, I don't know that I'm putting this out there to the world as an invitation for everyone to DM me questions about Instagram, but generally speaking, if, you know, when I interact with someone and they're like, wait, how did you get that to work? Or how did you do that? Or whatever, or what app did you use to create that video or that thing? You know, I'm never going to say, well, I'm not going to tell you and give you my secrets. Just like if I ask somebody, I kind of expect you know, I mean, we all just share. I mean, that's just.
Do the best you can, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, tell me about your TikTok campaign. What you can anyway.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So I am working right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, first we talked over each other. Tell everyone what your TikTok handle is.
So it's the same as my Instagram, which is @revealmydiy. Okay. Trying to keep it cohesive here. Although I created that account and got logged out of it, and then went to log back in and couldn't remember my password because I had signed in with Google and I didn't like remember that I did that. So I created another account that was like Reveal My DIY 1 or something, and then figured out how to get into the other account and had to delete that one. It was like this whole thing. But so I'm basically doing an 8-week campaign with TikTok, and it's doing TikTok. We're partnering with TikTok and doing it's a learn on TikTok campaign. So if you go to the hashtag learn on TikTok, there are like tons of creators putting out content that it's either going to teach you how to do something, educate you. It's a whole sort of initiative to put, you know, learnable, teachable content, so to speak, out on TikTok. So it's kind of more than just like dancing videos and things like that. So over the next 8 weeks, that's what I will be doing. And right now, which I know this isn't going to air right now, but I'm working on, this week is all about paint. So by the time you guys see this, you'll be able to go back and like, I guess, look at it. But I'm talking about like paint sheens and how to decide which paint sheen to use where and when and all that kind of stuff. Because I know, especially like when I was first starting to paint my house, I'm like, what the heck? What's the difference between all these, right? So we're trying to do those little bits and pieces of things that wouldn't necessarily people wouldn't know, to try to help them with their like DIYs.
Yeah, the basics, right? It's like I get asked about paint all the time. You know,
Yes.
what did you use? What sheen did you use? Why did you use it? Can you wipe down your walls? You know, the basics
Yes.
of the things. That's great. That's exciting.
Yep. And then I think I'll do some stuff about like the light reflective value of paint colors. I've got a whole list of things that I want to do these videos about. So it's just gonna be a matter of like, if I can get them all in, but I've got a whole like slew of things on the docket. My husband was like, you could talk about like the different kinds of primers and like when you would use those. I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess I don't want to get crazy. I don't want it to be 8 weeks of paint topics, but you know.
You know what though? I got a DM just the other day. Is like, I wish more. It literally said this to me. She's like, I follow a lot of home decor accounts, but not enough of them talk about paint and the different types of paint and how to use the paint. So
Okay.
actually literally got that question today. So I will definitely
DM her back and tell her to come follow me on TikTok.
I'll do a swipe up today all about it. Yeah, but it's true. It's true. And yeah, paint's always a challenge. It could be a challenge too for me.
It can. Well, and what I always tell people, and not that we are going to get on a topic about paint, but I always get questions, you know, and I'm sure you do too, right? Like, what is that color on your wall?
Yes.
And I think one of the biggest things that I said, because I did like a whole story one, this was like a year ago, but I did it because I kept getting that question. So I actually have a highlight bubble about it, but I did like a tour of all the paint colors in my house and all the swatches and talked about light reflective values and all that stuff. And one of the things that I always tell people when they ask me about the paint colors in my house is, even I have the same paint color throughout many rooms in my house, and it looks different. It doesn't look super different, but it looks different in different rooms. Obviously, it looks different in different times of day, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there's so many factors that play into what the color is ultimately going to look like on your walls that I always tell people, test it. Like, even though, and especially with Instagram, you know, like photos are edited and stuff, so the color is not going to look exactly like it does in the photograph, like in your house. So always test paint swatches. At least bring the swatches home if you don't want to paint your walls, and like hold it up in different times of day and stuff, and make sure that it looks the way you want it to look, you know, in your home before you slap it all over your walls.
Yeah, I did that once, and this room is baby blue. I'm not lying. You see it before, I was like, oh, this is steely blue. Yeah, I want the office to be steely blue. I came home, bought all the paint, baby blue.
Yep.
That's how it sat for 2 years.
Well, I don't see baby blue behind you now.
No, not now. But that when we bought the house and then we moved and then turned it into a rental. When it was a rental, this room was baby blue. And we moved back, I'm like, the baby blue's going, because I've never had an office to myself. And when I was able to collaborate with Urban Walls, I was like, I'm getting the thought office I've always wanted.
Yeah, well, that's a really cool mural back there. I love that.
Yeah, Urban Walls, they're amazing. Probably one of my favorite collaborations. So, okay, well, you've given so many good tips. Did we discuss any other businesses you have? Oh, you're doing a blog.
Yeah, I just started my website. So I bought a domain because it was funny, I was actually paying for a domain on a fitness. So I don't talk about this very often. My husband and I compete in bodybuilding competitions. What? So
I need your help because I gained 5 pounds.
Well, I gained way more than that since quarantine. So we actually had a show coming up and it got canceled. And as soon as I heard it got canceled, I went and like ate all the things and forget it. It was like game over. But so for a while I was paying to host a domain for a website for my like fitness stuff. But I'm not really doing fitness stuff lately because I thought, well, if I'm going to pay to host a domain, I would rather pay to host a domain for what I'm actually working on right now instead of the fitness stuff. So I basically canceled the website for the fitness related stuff and bought the domain for my Reveal My DIY so that I could have an actual website and not be like Reveal My DIY, you know, .blogspot or whatever. So I have revealmydiy.com now, which I actually need to transfer. I think I got the reminder yesterday to move because when you click on it, it still redirects you to like the blogspot thing. So I have to like do the transfer, but anyway, so yeah, so it's like baby website, you know, like not much to it yet, hoping to like build it out a little bit more, but it exists at least. So I was a little excited to at least get it off the ground.
It's always good. And this is something like I did my blog last year, and it's because I listened to a podcast. When we lived in Texas, I would listen to podcasts all the time because I had nothing else to do. And one of the people I listened to, they said Instagram could go away tomorrow. And if it did, what are you going to do? And then I thought, and they talked about the reason why you should have a blog, because what if all my content went away tomorrow and I didn't document it and I had to start from scratch? So yeah, so it's great that you're building your blog out, and I bet with all your DIYs, it's going to be even better, and you just keep growing it and keep growing in it. And I'm like, there's people out there making 100,000 a year doing a blog. I'm trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, I would love to figure that out. It's funny because a lot of the blog posts, the problem is like the DIYs we do sometimes are a little bit like, they're not complicated, but like I'm not in the garage with Kyle while he's like doing the things. Yeah. So a lot of times I'll have like all these videos and like pictures that I could theoretically make a blog post with, but I'm like, honey, like I need you to tell me like what to actually say is happening in this picture, Yeah. And he's so busy with his job and we both work like full-time jobs outside of doing this stuff. So he's always so busy with work. He's like, I don't know when you expect me to find the time. He's like, I'm not spending every like moment I'm not working, working on this too, like where this becomes a second full-time job. So it's kind of been a scenario where if it's something easy that I can write, then fine. But if it's a scenario where like I need his input, a lot of times it just doesn't happen because he's too busy. And when he's not busy, he doesn't want to do this stuff with me.
I get it. Steve's doing this IKEA hack bookshelf thing for the nursery / flex room / and I'm like, did you write any of this down? Did you take a picture? Did you wait? Let me take a video. I'm running up and down in between podcasts today, like videoing. I'm like, because we're never going to get blog posts out of this. I'm not even get a tutorial if we don't like take some video here.
I know. And Kyle will go in there and start doing stuff. And I'm like, wait, stop. I have got to document, like I have to take pictures or videos or whatever. If I just finish something out on Instagram and don't have the first question I'm going to get is, how did you do that? Right. And like, I can't, but I hear what you're saying about the Instagram. I've heard that comment a lot. And I've also heard people saying like to build a mailing list too. So like your your followers, so you have like somewhere else where all your followers go, as far as contacting them, that's outside of just Instagram. And I'm terrible at doing all that stuff. It's like Instagram is so easy. Yeah. You just like record your story, you can post it up, and you can make the highlight bubbles and all that stuff. And I think I've just gotten so spoiled by the ease of use with that it's like to think about, I like dread even the thought of like writing a blog post or even like these TikTok videos, although they're super cool. And like doing DIY tutorials in TikTok is actually really like easy and fun because it like syncs it to the music and stuff.
Yeah.
It's still like another thing that I have to do besides just Instagram. You know what I mean? And every extra thing you add to your plate, it's still like even if you can sort of use some of the content over, it's still like a different kind of content you have to create. And it just gets time consuming. It can become a lot.
It becomes a lot.
Yeah.
I totally get that. Like I'm a realtor, and I reactivated my license just right when COVID happened. And
great timing, right?
Yeah, I got a couple clients, and then I decided to do this podcast at the same time. And then, my daughter's, pregnant. It's just like life is crazy, but you do the best you can. And same with the blog. It's like I had it and I didn't do much with it. And now I'm like just trying to be consistent. But I could sit in this room all day long and just stare. That's why I bought the new computer, because I'm like, I was working off a Mac like this. Like or a laptop, little laptop doing this.
Yeah.
So, well, this has been a great interview, and I love that you explained the one room challenge, and I might try it.
So there's going to be one in fall.
Okay.
So they do it twice a year, spring and fall every year. So I think it starts maybe like September. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure if you go to oneroomchallenge.com, it's there, but they will do one in the fall. So that would be another one. And obviously if you have questions, not that I'm an expert at the one room challenge, but I'm happy to help if I can.
Put me in your group if you do it.
There you go. I don't know if I'm going to do it though. I'm going to have to see what else I have going on. I've started, to say no to some things now and like I'm trying to like be more intentional with what I do to make sure that I can like do it effectively. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I don't want to spread myself so thin that like I feel like I'm not giving anything enough attention.
So I do have a question.
So,
which I meant to ask earlier and that brought it up again, is so do you plan your content out as far as you can? Like I batch my content for a month. So literally I have next month's done, right? And I do that so I can work on this in between. And so I could take time off and be creative, you know? So, because if not, then my creativity it just goes downhill. And then I'm like, I'm going to stick some flowers in a thing and, and put this over here. And I hope someone likes it.
So I actually have just started. I have like I actually told my husband I need like a monthly. I'm getting to the point now. So before it was basically just fly by the seat of my pants. The minute something came in the mail, I was like opening it up and like my unboxing it on my stories. Now I do not do stuff like that. So I definitely like pre-record things and hold them until like I know that I'm going to post them. A lot of times, not like today I was like, I did everything live because I didn't have what I knew I was doing for today wasn't like something I had already planned ahead of time. So, but I need to like figure out a better way to get more organized to be able to do that. So, and like even like keeping my affiliate links and stuff organized outside of reward style, like I don't have a good like way to do that. So I need I'm to the point now where I need that and I'm struggling. So do you have any recommendations for how I could be more organized?
I will DM you because I just spent all weekend doing some weird stuff. I spent all day like linking things to things to things. And now
okay.
Hot.
Perfect. But do you use like Planoly or Later or one of those apps to pre-plan your content, or you just draft it all in Instagram?
I don't, because I hear it
messes with the algorithm.
But I do Google Docs, and I started planning out my content out and all my comments out. So that way I know what day I'm going to post what picture, what video, the comments already pre-written. All I have to do is upload it and then I hashtag it. And some hashtags I save and then I do organic hashtags. So, because if you copy paste all the hashtags, then the ratings go down, you know that.
Right.
And then sometimes I'll do some of those and then I'll just come up with like 15 of them that are really about the photo. So
yeah.
But that still takes time. That still takes me 30 minutes. Right.
Yeah.
And now
but it's better than like recording the whole thing from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. One more thing we didn't go over, tips.
Yeah. I thought I took too long and you were like, we're not asking for any more questions.
No, I forgot.
This girl's too chatty. We are cutting the questions short.
No, it's great. I love it.
So my 2 tips would be, don't focus on the numbers. So I got really hung up on that. And I think, to some extent when you're a newer account, especially that 10,000, right, is like that thing you're trying because you really want the swipe ups. But I think sometimes you get so hung up on the numbers that we stop focusing on like just creating organic, natural, engaging relationships. So I think a lot of times if you just focus on creating quality content, engaging with your audience and building relationships, the numbers come by themselves and you don't have to focus specifically on the numbers. And the other thing is too, on that topic, without getting too into it, doing too many giveaways is going to give you followers, but they're not going to be engaging authentic followers so your engagement ratings, what do we call rating?
Your engagement, yeah, it just drops.
It goes down, right? So you could have 10,000 followers and you're getting like 100 likes on a photo, then that's not like helping you. Yeah. Yes, you have swipe ups.
You lose followers and then IG punishes you. Because I get asked to sponsor giveaways a lot and I pick and choose. I'm like, because I know I'm going to take a hit. Yep. I might get 400 or 500 followers, but I might lose 150. So it just depends.
Yep. And I've started doing that too. When I first hit 10,000 followers, maybe like at 12, 15, I don't know. I started getting asked to sponsor a lot of giveaways. And now I'm very specific about what is the giveaway and what is the picture that I'm posting for the giveaway. Because if it's something ugly, or if it's like for me, for example, if it's a picture of like a nursery, even if it's Target, but if it's a picture of a nursery, that I don't have kids. So like that doesn't resonate with my audience. And so like I've said no to giveaways just because I don't like the picture that they're using for the giveaway. So I'm very particular about what is it for? And if it's anything other than home decor type store, I always say no. So I'm never giving away like a MacBook Pro or anything like that, because I want my audience only to like home decor. I feel like if you're looking for home decor giveaway and then you follow me, you're more likely to stick around because I'm a home decor account. versus if it's like a fashion giveaway and I'm not a fashion blogger, you're going to leave because you don't care about home decor. So I try to be very specific about the giveaways, how many people are they going to be required to follow to enter, like all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I've actually made a decision after the last giveaway that I did, other than this one group of decor accounts that I do giveaways with, I'm like not going to sponsor basically any more giveaways for quite some time because, like you said, I feel like I take a hit even though maybe it seems in the beginning like you're getting all these followers.
Yeah, and I actually made that decision this last time I sponsored one too. I was just kind of like, well, that wasn't worth it, and I took a hit, and my numbers didn't even move.
Yeah, well, in some of these giveaways, the companies that are putting the giveaways out, they don't know how to run a giveaway properly, so they don't set parameters around the accounts that are doing the giveaways, like posting right before, right after. So then the giveaway doesn't do well because the people that are in the giveaway aren't doing all the things they need to do to make it successful. And then you're like, you've just sponsored a giveaway. So like the last one I did, I actually told them the second day we were required to post, I told them I wasn't posting again because I didn't feel like I wasn't gaining any traction with it. And I just said, I'm not posting the second day. Take me off of the follow list if you need to, but I'm not posting it again.
I love how strong you are about your stance on things. I gotta toughen up.
Yeah, I will tell you, I wasn't always like that. But then I thought, you know what? This is my account, right? And me doing these things are like for me. And I can't do things that I think see my computer, see those emails. I can't do things that I feel like are hurting my account versus helping my account. So as much as I feel bad, right, at the end of the day, and if you don't ever want me to sponsor your giveaway again, that's fine with me. Because honestly, this giveaway, I wouldn't do it again anyway, because I didn't think it was a good giveaway. But if I don't feel like it's benefiting my account and just posting this picture again to my feed is going to hurt me, then I'm not going to do it. And so, I don't know. I just started to take a stance of saying no more and being firm and knowing that like only doing things that I feel like are benefiting me and my audience and not like, you know what I mean? And I'm not like, I don't know. I'm trying to be more picky.
Your followers. Yeah. Being true to you and your followers. I totally get
that.
Yeah. That's great.
And then the only other thing I would say as far as like the tips I would give would be, well, what I just said, I think, learn how to say no. Because I think if you're doing spamming people with giveaways constantly, every other thing you post that's not a giveaway is like a collaboration of some sort where you're selling something. Your audience is going to think that you're not authentic and all you're doing is pushing stuff at them constantly, and you're going to ultimately lose followers. Yeah. And if you don't lose followers, you're definitely going to lose engagement. And when people start engaging with you, you stop showing up in their feed, and it just becomes this perpetual thing. So say no to things that are not true to you and your brand. That goes even for like other accounts that want to do like their little, like for example, there's a Christmas in July that a group asked me about today. And I had to say no because I knew that I had other things today that would not have made that optimal. Like I could have probably done it, but I already had committed to certain things for this week, and I didn't want to have to like adjust that. So as much as I really wanted to participate, I knew that it wasn't the best thing. So I said no. And I feel bad sometimes saying no, but it's like, you can't say yes to everything. And so I don't know, I guess I try to just be more thoughtful in what I say yes to and making sure that it's like the right thing for me at that time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And, for a long time, I've had this account for just over 2 years, and I never posted one other, I think, oh wait, that's a lie. I did do like a couple collaborations where I posted someone else's picture on my feed, and I didn't like it. It was always just me for the first year and a half. I never posted anything other than me. I mean, except for a giveaway. And now with the podcast, like I'm like posting other people's photos, but that's because it's to promote the podcast, because this is what I want to do, because this is a business. And I felt weird. I'm like, oh, how are people going to feel about that? But your account changes and evolves, and this is what it's doing, So I can totally get that. And I remember when I first pushed that thing, I'm like, oh, how are people going to respond?
They're going to be like, this isn't Lisa. What is this?
And I'm like, I don't care, because this is what I'm doing.
Well, it's funny because like I had a company just reach out to me. Actually, they wanted to meet to promote, and this has happened to me several times. Speaking of that, where they wanted me to do a collaboration with them of like promoting one of their stock photos, so it's something like, and this is a different kind of scenario, right? Because it's not, but it's like an item that I've never like seen, touched, had in my possession, and they want me to like promote it for them, and I'm like, I don't do that.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are accounts you can get that you pay them enough money and they'll post whatever on their feed or whatever, but like I will never promote or, you know, sell or whatever, something that I can't endorse myself. And I can't endorse it if I haven't ever touched it, felt it, seen it, had it in my home. And I'm not going to post like your stock photo of something on my feed and say, go buy this. And that's never going to be a thing.
Sore thumb on your feed.
Exactly. So, but I do think that promoting other accounts and stuff is great. Although I try to do that also like strategically, because it can become, I don't like to go to other people's feed and be like, oh my God, look how gorgeous. And then you start clicking and you're like, oh, every single one of these pictures is not theirs. And then you realize it's not really their feed. So I do think there has to be a balance between making sure that you have enough of your own content that when people go to your page, they're seeing what you have to offer and not that you're just like recycling somebody else's content, right? Unless that's the avenue that you took with your account where you're only promoting other accounts. But
like an original account. Yeah. Those do really well, you know.
Yes.
As long as, like, I just interviewed someone today in their inspiration account, and you know, she gave really good tips on always give them credit, always do this. I only show stuff on my feed, you know, that I like, that is aligned with me and my followers, because if I start just throwing everything, whatever, that's a whole other thing. But you know, it's true. You have to be true to your brand. And
well, if you think about it, doing that would actually be good, because you can go pick the best pictures, you know, right? There's never going to be a bad picture in that scenario, because you just go out to hashtags and you're like, oh, that's gorgeous. Let me ask this person or tag this person. You just pick every gorgeous picture you see and like tag people.
And like you said, I can't do photos. So I actually hire a photographer once a month. So it's like, I get my entire house ready to be shot. Well, the rooms, because I can't do photos. It's just like one other thing I can't do. Steve doesn't know how to do it. I do own a $500 camera I can't figure out. And then I know a ton of people just use their iPhone, can't figure out the apps. I've downloaded the Lightroom. I've done it all. And I'm like, it's one more thing I can't do. I just can't do it. And for the price she gives me, I get beautiful photos.
You know, it's funny. I actually reached out to a local photographer that does like interior photography, because I found her on Instagram. Yeah. And I'm actually in an email conversation with her right now, but I was like, you know, I can take pictures with my iPhone and I can edit them in Lightroom, and sometimes they look okay. Sometimes if I have weird lighting, you know, I could get weird shadows, and you know, there's times when I post stuff and I'm like not super happy with them, but it's like, if I need to get it out, you know, you just kind of like do what you can. But I wanted to see, I was curious to see, like, if a photographer came in, I wanted to get like, I feel like they would have a different, you know, they're looking at it from a different lens of literally and physics and figuratively, right? And so I thought, well, they're going to be looking at my home differently than I do. And so maybe they would even just shoot like different angles that I wouldn't think about before. And that maybe would even just give me the inspiration for like future, even if I shoot my own photos after that, right? Like, just like, oh, now that angle was cool. So like next time I shoot this room, I could like do it from that angle kind of thing.
Kind of like you talked about freeing up your time. And for me, photography is going to take me hours to figure out how to edit, and I can't. I need to put my energy into somewhere else. And a photographer definitely do that. You might go through a couple, and then I would suggest DM me, because I have some suggestions, because I went through a couple bad ones. But they're only going to take photos of what you tell them to do. But as you get to know them, then they're going to be like, oh, this is cool and that's cool. And then you're going to get your photos. You're going to be like, wow, that looks really good. Like, I just got my photos for next month back, and I'm like, I love her.
Yeah, and that's good, because I'm curious too about like, so one of the things is I'm like, I don't know what I should be like paying someone to do this kind of thing, you know, especially if I'm crediting them, like they're getting credit for their work, because I'm going to tag that they took the picture.
I don't tag her all the time. She's 50-50. She doesn't care, but I do pay her. But
yeah.
I tag her a lot. But do I tag her every photo? No. But I'll shout her out. If she's here, I'll be like, Natalie's coming today. Follow her page, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we'll see, because I'm thinking if I'm going to tag you every time, then like, I don't necessarily want to have to pay you a lot, because you're probably going to get a lot of business from this. But if I'm paying you a lot, then I'm just going to not tag you, because like, you know, can't have it both ways. You can't get full price payment and also then get all the advertisement. Yeah. So we'll see.
It's a push and pull. Well, thank you so much. This was a great interview. We went way over, but you know, it's a lot of good content, and you given me tons of ideas. I have to rethink some things and be mean, not mean. I have to be more forceful. I'm gonna be more forceful.
Just, you know who you are. Just be true to who you are. And if you think something isn't staying true to yourself, then just say no. That's what I said.
I've actually said no to a lot of things.
I'd love to say yes too, don't get me wrong, but I'm not scared to say no when I don't think something is aligning to what I'm, you know, my priorities and what I'm trying to do.
And that's a great tip, because I think at the beginning people just say yes to everything.
Yes, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Corey. It's been
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
It's been a great conversation. I think people are going to learn a lot from this, and we're definitely be messaging more.
Yes, for sure. Have a good night.
You too.